Welcome, Jerry and Terry's, to Geek Salad's Retro Movie Reviews from the Geek Salad Podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And home stretch, man.
Yep.
Two more to go.
This
is one more to go. We are covering 2020's Soul, the second to last movie currently released by Pixar, and the first to be released exclusively on Disney Plus with no premium access required. It was free to all on Christmas Day.
Yep. And then they did that with Luca, and they're going to be doing that again with Turning Red.
Yep. It's almost, I don't know. I'm sure that there is a good reason for this. I'm not sure what it is, but
I did come up with a reason why, a possible positive reason why they're doing this. It's like Disney knows Pixar movies are generally really well regarded and really popular. You got to go to Disney Plus to watch them.
It definitely gets, and that's what I was thinking. It gets eyes on the service without premium access, because premium access, it means that they're kind of doing the double. They're releasing the movie in tandem in the theaters and showing it on Disney Plus, and why lose out on that theatrical money? So I can understand that. I'll be curious.
I know Chapek has been, when he came in, he was like Disney Plus all the way, Disney Plus. So
a lot of what Chapek's doing that I'm not crazy about, but
nor me.
It's that kind, gentle hand of Bob Iger. But I'm very curious how Lightyear is gonna, because Lightyear seems like it was made for the movies.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but that's not till the summer.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I got Soul to get through.
Yeah, we still got to get through Soul. You watched it for the first time last night, right? I watched it
2 nights ago.
2 nights ago. Okay. We watched it the week of Christmas last year when it first premiered. I watched it again today. I'll let you start.
Not my favorite by a long shot.
Yeah.
I was not impressed by this movie.
I remember when you went to D23 and you saw some of the kind of like the teaser for it, because this was around the same time that they were showing the teasers for Raya, and this is before everything got affected by the pandemic. That this looks really good.
Yeah, they didn't really have teasers, but they had like the character designs, and they kind of had the idea, and they brought out like they brought out Jamie Foxx and Tina Fey, and they brought out
Terry?
Huh? No, the guys did the music.
Oh, Trent Reznor, Atticus Finch, and John Batiste.
Yeah, they brought them out, and they were like, "Oh, this is really, really into jazz." I'm like, "All right, cool. This sounds really cool." I kind of wish I saw the movie that they were advertising.
Yeah, watching it again the second time, having a year's removed from it. This is by no means Pixar's worst movie. I don't even think it's
still Cars 2.
Insultingly bad or deliberately bad. But
Cars
I feel
2 is still the worst.
Huh?
Cars 2 is still the worst.
Cars 2 is still absolutely the worst. There's no denying that. But with this one, I feel like there is potential in various ends that they could have brought this movie that they just simply didn't. I think I put it to you this way when I was watching it again today, that I wish they just stayed in one lane and stuck with that the entire time, because the movie is all over the place. Do you want a movie about music? I would love a Pixar movie about music, especially jazz. I love jazz. I really want to see that. And I felt like I was digging that, but I would dig that more as its own movie. I would have dug a movie that was, 80% in the before life.
Yeah.
Which I will still say, I feel like the animation in the before life,
the great before,
yeah, thank you, was fantastic. When Joe falls off of that bridge and they go with that black and white hand drawn that just shifts from white to black to white to black as he is falling into this thing is fantastic. All the Jerrys and the Terrys, the line drawn, that reminds me of old Disney shorts animation.
Yeah.
I don't think it was from my music. It might have been from Whistle.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about, right? The one that is
yeah.
about music, the history of music. And there's a thing in there. There's one little interstitial in that one that is about the Jazz Age, and they actually kept a lot of that line drawing stuff. Which I looked at IMDb. None of that is referenced, so I don't know if it was just like a coincidence. But I liked what they were doing with that.
I was really hoping there'd be more jazz, because I mean they really kind of pushed the jazz for this one, and I was like, yeah, when he was like playing the piano and all that, and those scenes, I thought that was fantastic. Really good jazz there, but
Right.
then like every time it wasn't in the club there, I don't remember hearing all that much jazz.
Right. There were scenes when he was in that zone, that mystical zone that was putting him back.
I didn't get.
The rule, they weren't paying attention to their own rules at a certain point. They gave up. But I liked, because that's the thing. If you are so into something that you get into that zone where nothing else exists, it's just the thing you're doing because you love it so much. I really like that. And again, part of that would have made a really good movie. But we spent the majority, 65% of this movie is pretty much a body switch comedy.
Yeah.
Where, the black character gets to play a cat.
Yeah, I was watching it, and great before I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then like, wait. They're leaving the wait. I paused it. I'm like, I still have an hour to go? What the hell happened to this movie?
Oh my, all right. Even better. When Joe finally gets to go back to Earth to go play in his gig, I paused to see how much time was left. There's still a half hour of the movie left.
To be fair, though, like the last 10 minutes are the like the foreign credits.
Yeah, well, no, I don't think they might time those out. I don't know.
No,
but there was still a half hour. Let me restate by saying there was still a lot of movie.
Yeah.
That still needed to happen because he goes, he plays, and then he finds that it really wasn't he was expecting it to be. And it just like it went because now he's got to go save 22, and it's just so much. It's like he really didn't sacrifice anything. He gave,
For the vast majority of Pixar movies, there is an emotional hook. Like even in the first Cars, there's a moment where I'm like, okay, I get the feeling. This one, nothing. Not a single like quiver of the lip at any point.
Well, I mean, I'll disagree into the point that there are scenes of absolute beauty in this movie when he's just kind of realizing how lucky he is to be experiencing life. And again, it's that scene when he goes into the zone and he's putting down all the little pieces and remembering all the things that 22 realized were like these amazing things. That is beautiful. His memories, of his, listening to jazz with his dad and, even when his dad was elderly, there's a lot of really good stuff in there. But again, it's like, if they had just stayed in one lane with this, it would have been great instead of turning it into a body switch comedy.
Yeah. And again, like you said, they just took their own rules, they wrote them, and then they proceed to rip them up and throw them out the window because they decided to just like switching the rules so many times throughout the movie. I mean, particularly like when when he's in a cat, they established pretty early on that when he's talking to 22, everybody else, all the humans are hearing meow 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 meow.
Yep.
And yet, when they find Moonbeam in the in the real world, he can understand them finally because he's got a spiritual connection to them, I guess. Or
that I was kind of okay with. What drove me nuts was when he's talking as the cat to 22, who's in Joe's body, to his mother.
Yeah.
And it's like, again, you would think that she would be like, are you talking to that cat? Is that cat talking through you? Meow, 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 meow. Yeah, and another thing, it's...
But yet the cat, then they switch it and they hear the cat is silent and Joe's just saying everything. I'm like, there's a disconnect there. I get it. They were trying to go for the emotionality of the scene, but that's when, like, if the movie had hooked me more, I might forgive it.
Yeah.
But it didn't hook me, so I'm nitpicking, and that thing just kind of bugged me the entire scene.
Right.
Which sucks because I really like Felicia Rashad.
Yeah, I do too. I feel... Let's see, I just had it on the tip of my tongue here in terms of something else. Oh, all right. Just really curious. Who gave the cat its soul back?
Yeah, the last time we saw the cat's soul was
on the conveyor belt.
The Great Beyond. So I'm like, so
that cat should be dead.
Yeah, that cat. As soon as Joe got back into his own body, that cat should have been just dead on his lap. No, cat's fine.
Yep. I remember asking that too. I think when we were watching it the first time, he was like, "Give the cat's soul back." I can never pronounce the actor's last name. Richard. Help me out here. He was accountant Jerry.
Oh, yeah. All of the Jerrys.
Richard Ayoade.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. You could tell it was him because of his very thick New Zealand accent.
Yeah.
I wanted more of him. He was just kind of like, he was a nice antagonist. Pixar movies don't need villains. We've kind of established they don't really need villains.
I mean, this one has a quasi villain named Terry, voiced by Rachel House. So I love Rachel House. But even that, she was just a number cruncher, and in the end, they foiled her by saying, "Hey, look over there."
Oh no, that was Richard Ayoade.
No, Terry, the little one that was hunting down. That
was Richard Ayoade. That was a man.
I thought that was Rachel House.
No, Rachel House was one of the spiritual beings that was assigning mentors.
Nope, Rachel House as Terry, a soul counter in the Great Beyond.
A soul counter in the Great Beyond. Maybe
that was the one that was going. Wait.
Oh, okay. Then I'm confused as hell then, because that sounded like a man to me.
No, that was right. Rich Ayoade was one of the Jerrys.
Right.
Soul counselors in the Great Before.
Right. I'm confused as hell. Nothing about this movie makes sense then.
But yeah, again, I the Terry was kind of the villain, but she was just trying to get things back in
antagonists. Antagonists are not the same as villains.
Yeah, and again, foiled by look over there.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I miscounted. Oh well.
After talking about Onward last week and how much we really enjoyed Onward, I really feel like Onward got screwed at the Oscars. Soul is the more prestigious of the two.
Yeah.
Straight up, it was built to be the more prestigious of the two. Even if you go back to 2015 when they had the double year where they released Inside Out and The Good Dinosaur, Inside Out was definitely the one that they were more focused on, which, okay, makes sense.
I mean, speaking of Inside Out, I mean, this Pete Docter, after like Monsters, Inc., Up, and Inside Out, then he went and directed this? I expected better from him. I expected a lot better from him.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, but Pete Docter is also, he's kind of like in charge of Pixar now. Like he took over Lasseter's spot, and he and Jennifer Lee are working kind of together in the Disney Animation House.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think he will be the last of like the big, original Pixar directors that is, that this is the last thing he'll do because now they pass that on to a new group of people.
Yeah.
Which, I'm fine with. And I know that they need new blood. That's why I love those Spark shorts so much, because it allows new animators and new directors to kind of show how they can put a story together.
Yeah. I mean, like Turning Red has got a brand new director.
Yep.
Well, not new, but the biggest thing she's done, I think.
Luca's the
Yeah.
same way, and we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah.
And then there's the music. So the music won Best Score, which it's like, all right, John Batiste did a good job with the jazz. I mean, let's be honest. It is very, it's just department store jazz more so than like, go into my record collection and look for some really good stuff. But I mean, John Batiste is a singular entity. He is a great entertainer. I saw him perform at the 4th of July in the Pops, and he was great. He was great. Trent Reznor and Atticus Finch is essentially wholesale theft of Giacchino's Inside Out score.
That's one thing I did like note, because normally I don't really kind of pick up on the score until maybe the second or third watch through. This one I was kind of paying a little bit more attention to it because I was so looking forward to that jazz feel to it, and I'm like, and this as the end credits going on, I'm like, that soundtrack was very underwhelming.
It wouldn't have been impossible for them to make make the entire score jazzy. It doesn't have to be complete. It doesn't have to be complete, like, 4-piece.
All right.
But you could still get the effect of essentially I'm just going to call them the Inside Out ripples that they had, in the heavenly scenes with just piano.
Yeah.
They could have done that. They could have done something with sax. It was possible, and again, it's a missed opportunity because for a movie about a musician, not a whole lot about music in it. Music makes me feel this. Great. Music makes a lot of people feel like that. That's fantastic. You could have made the movie about that.
One thing that we really haven't kind of touched on, which for us kind of a good thing, is the characters themselves. Can I just say that Joe is probably the most unlikable character in any Pixar movie? I don't even like him. I like Marlin more than I like Joe.
Wow, I'm not
a big fan of Marlin.
Yeah, I mean, Joe is one of those things that it's that trod upon. I don't want to do the things that I need to do. I feel like he didn't really learn much. He as I mentioned before, he didn't really sacrifice anything. He got to do what he wanted to do, and then he went to go back and help 22 out.
Yeah.
But
even when he was like trying to help 22, like in his body and trying to get back, he was like, oh, "This isn't you. This is all like what I'm doing for you. It's you and me and my body. It's my body that's doing that for you. It's not you."
Yeah,
like, dude, how flipping self-centered do you have to be?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I found the twist at the end interesting. That he had no desire to go out on the road and gig and all that stuff. It wasn't in his heart. He had that one moment. That's all he needed. So, okay, great. It was like in the back of my head, I was like, oh God, he's not going to kill himself, is he? It's just, 22, Tina Fey. I love Tina Fey, but let's be honest. Essentially, it was just like, it wouldn't have looked out of place to have 22 and Joy like sitting side by side at the Weekend Update desk, because I felt like that's what I was getting. I was just getting, the ego to Amy Poehler's id.
Honestly, the character I really wanted to hear more from was Connie.
Yeah,
her student there. The student there.
Yeah, the student was a really interesting thing, because, and I'm glad that it was just weird that the Virgin Soul had convinced her to stay in school and keep with music, but
some of those logic turns were not well thought of.
Yeah, but I mean, this isn't a huge cast. I mean, there's some nice side character. Dez is an interesting character.
I liked all the other characters more than I like Joe.
Right. How do you put Daveed Diggs in a 4-line role? That's what I want to know. Daveed Diggs had 4 lines in that.
Oh yeah.
He was the guy in the barber shop.
His neighbor, yeah.
Yeah, and he was the barber shop who was making fun of him.
And then Terry accidentally steals his soul and then puts him back.
And then and avoid
talks to him from his chips.
Huh?
And then talks to him from his chips. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you squander a talent like Daveed Diggs in that? I just don't get it.
And that role wasn't even really all that great.
No, it wasn't. Again, it's like, you've got this Tony Award winning actor. I hope that there's something else for him down the line somewhere.
Yeah.
I can't remember if he's done any other voices. Now I'm gonna look that up.
I already got it.
You got him up?
Yeah,
Has he done any other cartoon voices?
What? He said he was a writer and performer for Parlez-Vous Rap in Zootopia. I don't remember that.
Okay, I don't remember that either.
He was the voice of a character named Dose in Ferdinand, that animated bull feature. It was like the
John
last
Cena.
one. Yeah, with the last one released by 20th Century Fox, really.
Okay.
I'm
surprised that Disney hasn't gotten more for him to do.
They do, actually. And the live-action Little Mermaid coming out next year.
Oh, is he in that?
He's the voice of Sebastian.
Oh.
That is a big role for him. He gets to go under the sea.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. But, and then, Graham Norton.
Yeah, as Moonbeam.
Moonbeam. He was fine. He was just like, pick out the British voice.
Again, I don't see how him going just kind of zoning out while flipping a sign means that he can now save lost souls in the afterlife.
I think the whole gag is that he's just, he's an aging hippie and he's got he's just got his own way to the afterlife. It's plot convenience. It's really what it is. It's just plot convenience. This movie really, it's disappointing. There's a lot of movies where we kind of see it and we're like, no. But I really feel like this is the first one where, it had a lot of expectations and it really disappointed me on a lot of them.
Oh, and you were disappointed. Yeah, you knew how excited I was out of
Yeah. And the thing is with this movie too is that they had an opportunity here. I was in the trivia on IMDb, and that this is Pixar's first Black protagonist. Joe is the first Black protagonist in a Pixar movie.
Pixar, yeah.
And there's really nothing about the experience at all. I not like it needed to take center stage, but it would have been, even in a small little piece, interesting to have 22 understand that not everything's amazing. Somebody is going to be a dick to Joe just based on the color of his skin. Something like that. And it was like, again, it's like I feel I think of this and I think of our friend Nick with Princess and the Frog. It's like, hey, you're promised a black princess, but she's a frog most of the time. Yeah. Here's your main black protagonist in a Pixar movie. He's a cat most of the time.
Yeah. He's a cat or a little white blob.
Exactly. They got to stop with that.
If they're a black character, let them be black, please.
Exactly. So, does that mean that when we have our Asian protagonist in Turning Red, that she's going to be a panda most of the time?
Yes, we've already seen that.
Yeah, I know. We always thought that's in the trailer. There's no spoilers there.
At least it is an animal from an Asian country.
That's very, very true. It's just.
Yeah.
It's just one of these movies. It's just like, certain Pixar movies are an experience to watch. And that's what I felt about Onward. I felt like Onward was a really good experience.
Yeah.
This was just kind of like they're going the up route, but without there are several joyous scenes in Up. Doug is his own character. Doug isn't Carl's consciousness put into Doug.
Right.
So that's the thing. It just.
Yeah, there's a lot of. Most Pixar movies I would gladly go back and watch. This one,
yeah,
I'd only go back and watch it if I had to.
Right. I still feel like this is better than something like a Finding Dory. Um,
I
but
I put Finding Dory above it actually, mainly
really,
because
okay,
Finding Dory had some like emotional moments that this one just didn't. For me, this one just left me feeling cold, and for a Pixar movie, that is a cardinal
yeah,
sin.
yeah,
Every Pixar movie has got to have that moment where you feel like you feel like maybe not even the tear coming out, but just your eyes starting to feel moist. You're like feeling choked
yeah.
up. This one didn't do it for me. Cars 2 didn't do it for me. Even Cars 1 had something a little bit, not much, but it had a
Not
little bit.
much, but yeah. Well, that was Soul.
Yeah.
I'm curious. What were your
Here's
thoughts on it,
hoping I like
folks?
Luca more.
Yep, yep. Oh, that's right. I haven't seen that either.
Yeah.
So, all right, folks. What are your thoughts on Soul? Leave a polite comment below. We'd love to know what you think about Soul. Did it live up to your expectations? Was it?
Just going out there, we are probably in the minority because I looked. It has like a 95 or 93 or 95 on Rotten
Right.
Tomatoes.
Right.
So
Well, last year when I was having my conversation with the Movies After Work podcast and we were ranking these, I was thinking about where Soul would place, and it ended up like pushing it down in favor of Onward because it's like the more I thought about it, the more it's like I don't really know if this movie accomplished what it set out to do.
where did the Movies at Work guys do put them?
I don't remember. It was also in the lower side, and again, a lot of that had to do with the fact that the squandered opportunity of you finally having your first black protagonist in a Pixar movie, and I spent 65% of the movie in the body of a cat. So it's yeah, you do with that what you will. So yeah, we're curious what you think about this one. But next week we are finishing this year-long project with all the breaks we've had and all that. We are going to talk about Luca.
Yeah.
And you know what? We're also going to be talking about Bruno.
Hey, we don't talk about Bruno.
No, in Luca we do talk about Bruno because he is a
We
character.
don't talk about Bruno.
Okay, well, that's the first rule of Bruno Club. Do not talk about Bruno. Second rule of Bruno Club: do not talk about Bruno.
But you can sing about him though.
In song form. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing what you think of this. I've already seen it. I'm gonna go back and watch it again. But yeah, that is next week, and then we're off to different projects. So anyway, folks, don't forget, Mike and I host a little podcast called Geek Salad. You can check us out wherever you get your podcasts from. Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify, you name it, we're there. Don't forget to follow us on the socials at Geek Salad Radio on Twitter and Facebook, Geek Salad Podcast on Facebook. Check out our merch store at TeePublic. And don't forget, give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, because we do this every week, and we got a whole playlist of Pixar movies. I can't wait for you to just go and just watch them all, starting from Toy Story and moving all the way through all the other ones. I am so Pixar'd out, it's not even funny. So, anyway, folks, until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
Go forth and be nerdful.